Canada's cut to temporary foreign workers leave resorts scrambling. Canadian resorts are facing staffing shortages after the government announced cuts to its temporary foreign worker program. The video, aimed at reducing reliance on foreign labor, has left tourism and hospitality businesses scrambling to fill critical seasonal roles. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. Resort industry in Ontario, the largest province of Canada, accounting for the $22 billion tourism sector, is in crisis due to a reduction in foreign workers. Federal cuts to the temporary foreign worker program have slashed staffing options for resorts like Blue Mountain and Totem Resorts, threatening closures, reduced hours, and lost revenue. As the demand for summer vacation surges in 2025, these changes could potentially ripple through local economies, putting businesses, workers, and tourists in a precarious situation. This video explores the cuts, their impacts, and potential solutions, drawing on data, expert insights, and on-the-ground stories. Ground Zero: how cuts are hitting Ontario resorts hard. Ontario's resort sector, a $22 billion juggernaut employing over 200,000 people, is feeling the pinch acutely. In the heart of Ontario's picturesque resort country, where lush forests meet sparkling lakes and ski slopes transform into summer playgrounds, a quiet crisis is unfolding. At Blue Mountain Resort, one of Canada's premier four-season destinations, managers are scrambling to fill shifts as the peak tourist season looms. As Ontario's largest ski resort and a year-round attraction with hiking, golf, and water parks, it typically hires 1,500 to 2,000 seasonal workers. Historically, 15 to 20% come via TFWP or international programs, filling roles like housekeeping and food service where locals are scarce. Housekeepers, lift operators, and kitchen staff roles once reliably staffed by seasonal workers from abroad are now in short supply. "We've always counted on a mix of local hires and international talent to keep things running smoothly," says a resort spokesperson, echoing sentiments heard across the province. But recent federal cuts to Canada's temporary foreign worker program have upended that balance, leaving businesses like Blue Mountain facing potential closures, reduced hours, and lost revenue. Now, with the 10% cap, managers estimate a 20 to 30% shortfall in staff, potentially leading to closed amenities or higher prices to cover overtime. As the summer of 2025 heats up, these changes are not just policy tweaks. They're threatening the very fabric of Ontario's tourism industry, which pumps billions into the economy annually. This isn't an isolated issue. From the rugged shores of Georgian Bay to the remote fishing lodges of northwestern Ontario, resort owners are sounding the alarm. Totem Resorts in Sioux Narrows, a beloved angling hotspot that draws thousands of visitors each year, exemplifies the struggle. The fishing lodge has cut back on bookings due to understaffing. "We're turning away groups because we can't guarantee service," Brown lamented. Reservation manager Stephanie Brown recently shared her frustrations. "In a town with just a few hundred residents, finding locals for seasonal jobs is like searching for a needle in a haystack." The resort has long depended on the TFWP to bring in workers from countries like Mexico and the Philippines, who fill essential roles during the busy months. Now, with stricter caps and shorter permit durations, Brown fears they won't have enough hands on deck, potentially forcing them to turn away guests or scale back operations. The ripple effects extend beyond individual businesses. Ontario's resorts alone contribute over $5 billion to the provincial economy through tourism, supporting jobs in hospitality, retail, and transportation. A staffing shortage could mean fewer open rooms, delayed services, and dissatisfied visitors, many of whom are international tourists seeking Canada's natural beauty. The irony is palpable. A program designed to protect Canadian jobs might inadvertently harm the sector that creates them. A Restaurants Canada survey found that 80% of hospitality businesses in rural Ontario rely on TFWs for at least 10% of their workforce. With cuts, up to 40% predict reduced hours or closures, especially in tourist-dependent towns. Personal stories humanize the stats. Maria, a former TFW from the Philippines who worked at a Georgian Bay resort, name withheld for privacy, shared. "I came for 2 seasons, sending money home while learning skills. Now, with 1-year limits, it's not worth the risk." Locals like Jake Thompson, a Collingwood resident, applied for jobs but found wages stagnant at $16 to $18 per hour below living costs. "Resorts say they can't find Canadians, but maybe pay more," he said. The irony? As staffing dips, tourism demand rises amid Canadians ditching the US due to tariffs and more of the Europeans choosing Canada over the US for tourism now. Detailing the 2025 cuts, caps, durations, and eligibility overhauls. The heart of the controversy lies in the specifics of the 2025 changes, effective from January onward. First, the government aims to slash the overall temporary resident population to 5% by 2026, a drop that will be formalized in the 2025 to 2027 Immigration Levels Plan. For the TFWP, this translates to workforce caps. Employers in most sectors, including hospitality, are now limited to hiring no more than 10% of their staff through the program, down from 20% or 30% in some cases. Exceptions apply to critical areas like agriculture and healthcare, but tourism falls under the stricter rules. Permit durations. Low-wage TFW contracts are reduced from 2 years to 1, forcing more frequent renewals and increasing administrative burdens. Unemployment thresholds. In regions with unemployment rates of 6% or higher, hiring low-wage TFWs is banned outright, except in exempted sectors. This hits Ontario hard, where urban-rural divides mean higher joblessness in resort-heavy areas. Wage and compliance hikes. Minimum wage thresholds for TFWs rose by up to 20% in June 2025, and employers face tougher inspections to prevent abuse. Spousal work permits are now restricted to high-skill occupations. These measures are projected to cut low-wage TFWs by about 65,000, returning to pre-pandemic levels. The rationale? Prioritize Canadians, combat exploitation, and ease pressures on housing and services. Employment Minister Randy Boissonnault emphasized, this is about putting Canadians first while maintaining a system that's sustainable. Yet, implementation has been rocky. Processing times for work permits ballooned to 196 days by mid-2025, delaying hires for the summer rush. For resorts, which operate on thin margins and seasonal cycles, these delays could prove fatal. Voices from the front lines, business owners, critics, and workers weigh in. Business leaders are vocal in their opposition. Kelly Higginson, President and CEO of Restaurants Canada, called the changes a one-size-fits-all blunder. Capping TFWs at 10% and having durations ignores the realities of rural and tourist areas. We could see closures in communities with no alternatives. At Blue Mountain, executives echo this, advocating for exemptions in seasonal industries. Critics, including migrant rights groups, see deeper flaws. Syed Hassan of the Migrant Workers Alliance for Change argues, unemployment isn't from immigrants, it's from exploitation and poor policies. Give migrants permanent status for equality. Economists like Mike Moffat praise the cuts as a first step, but urge wage reforms. Government defenders, like Housing Minister Sean Fraser, highlight benefits. Reducing TFWs eases housing strains, freeing up units for Canadians. Yet, opposition MPs like Melissa Lantsman blast the Liberals for creating the mess. They broke immigration, now they're scrambling to fix it. On social media, the debate rages. One ex-user noted, many restaurants warn of closures due to TFWP cuts, too many spots or not enough pay. Another highlighted tourism slump is tied to broader issues, like US-Canada tensions, exacerbating shortages. Economic ripples, tourism, jobs, and Canada's broader landscape. The fallout could cost Ontario's economy $1 to $2 billion in lost tourism revenue, per TD Economics estimates for similar disruptions. Nationally, hospitality employs 1.7 million, with TFWs filling 100,000 plus roles. Cuts might boost local hiring but risk inflation if wages rise, or deflation if businesses fold. Comparisons to past reforms like 2014 restrictions that hurt Alberta's oil sands suggest short-term pain but long-term adaptation. However, in a post-pandemic world with climate-driven wildfires and global travel volatility, resilience is key. Internationally, Canada's moves mirror US crackdowns under Trump, where tourism dipped 6 to 7% amid immigration rhetoric. For Ontario, losing even 500,000 visitors monthly could mean $100 million in monthly revenue hits. Stakeholders propose fixes. Sector-specific exemptions allow higher caps for tourism in low-population areas. Wage incentives, subsidies for training Canadians, or minimum wage hikes tied to productivity. Pathways to permanency, convert TFWs to permanent residents faster, reducing turnover. Tech and automation, invest in AI for check-ins or robots for cleaning, though costly for small resorts. Blue Mountain is exploring dorm-style housing for staff, a 2023 initiative to attract locals. Government pilots for youth employment could help too. As August 2025 unfolds, Ontario's resorts stand at a crossroads. The TFWP cuts aim to safeguard Canadian jobs but risk undermining the tourism engine. By fostering dialogue between Ottawa, businesses, and workers, Canada can refine its approach ensuring fairness without sacrificing the welcoming spirit that draws visitors worldwide. Industry leaders warn that without swift solutions, the reduced TFW allocations could hurt service quality and tourism revenue, especially during peak travel seasons. Many employers are now pushing for urgent policy adjustments to prevent long-term damage to Canada's resort economy. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.